It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. 5 o'clock. Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 12th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds today. Could see a snow shower this morning. The high 50. Tonight and overnight, the clouds hang around, low 43. And then Thursday, sunshine, high 51. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 37 cloudy in Smithtown out on Long Island. 36 and cloudy in Hopewell over in New Jersey. And it's 38 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
The big vote to end the government shutdown takes place today. Why did Mayor-elect Mamdani skip the Veterans Day parade? Some neighbors in Harlem wish they had stepped in to save a mom. Local food pantries say they're seeing a lot more people showing up for help. And there's another Facebook marketplace scam that Brooklynites are falling for. All right, let's get into it. 5:01, that shutdown vote will take place in the House today, but it is another day of flight cancellations and delays as the FAA reduces flights again today at 40 major airports. This all connected to the fact that not enough air traffic controllers are showing up for work because they have not been paid in more than 40 days.
My flight was supposed to go out yesterday and I was canceled, so I had to rebook for this morning.
Tomorrow, Wednesday, is another block that they're going to let us know for the next few days.
Yeah, New York airports, including LaGuardia, Kennedy, Newark, and Teterboro, among those impacted. The travel chaos blamed on the continuing government shutdown that has many air traffic controllers calling out sick, taking on side jobs because they're not getting paid. Lake effect snow in the Midwest that moved into the Northeast was a factor yesterday. Meantime, the FAA mandated flight cuts are set to go to 8% on Thursday and 10% on Friday. So this is not going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Here's Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
If you thought this weekend was bad with delays and cancellations, truly this Thursday and Friday, I think you would have seen mass double, triple the number of cancellations and delays in the airspace.
Yeah, so those flights have been cut purposely so because there's not enough air traffic controllers, not enough TSA workers showing up at the airports. It's all staffing issues, and so they're taking these precautions to keep people safe.
I'm concerned about their dedication. I'm concerned about their patriotism. And so we haven't made a decision, but we are going to look at those controllers who continually made the decision not to show up for work.
Yes, so some of those controllers, the president said he would give a bonus to the air traffic controllers who were showing up. Not clear if that's going to happen, but now there's a thought that maybe they'll get rid of some of the air traffic controllers who do not show up for work. Of course, there's staffing issues on a normal day that there's not enough air traffic controllers, so I don't know how they would do that.
I will say, I believe that in this package to reopen the government, our controllers could be paid within 48 hours of the government opening. So they could, not all of it, I think it's a 70% payment, but they'll get a big lump sum of what they're due.
Well, that might help, but the government shutdown is nearing its end with this spending measure now in the hands of the House. Florida GOP Congressman Brian Mass hopes House Democrats do the right thing today.
They want the pain on the American people to continue because they saw it as leverage. They said no less. You can see all the videos of them going out there saying that very thing. The Republicans, we don't want that pain on the American people. It doesn't make any sense.
Congressman Mast telling Fox Business that he believes Democrats would rather keep the country paralyzed than open up the government.
This getting over the finish line is because only a handful of them, let's say 8 to 15 in total, will have actually supported ending this government shutdown. The other 250 still want to keep the government closed down.
Democrat Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she's also from Florida, says the funding measure does not address health care costs.
I have 203,000 people in my district that without those tax credits, they are seeing premium increases that are causing them to choose between whether they pay their rent or pay their health insurance premiums.
Okay, so all eyes on the House today. The House Rules Committee has voted on party lines to advance the Senate pass package to reopen the government. GOP leaders hopeful the legislation will pass today and that it'll be sent to President Trump by late this afternoon, this evening, for him to sign. 5:04, let's bring it back home. The PBA, the Police Benevolent Association, sounding the alarm again about NYPD staffing shortages here in the city. PBA President Patrick Hendry says the shortage is due to quality of life issues that officers are subjected to on a daily basis.
We deserve to get paid like the professionals that we are. Police officers aren't getting their days off, their meals. They're getting forced to work overtime that they don't want to.
Data shows since October of 2024, 3,668 officers have left the force by retiring or quitting. The NYPD's current head count is 33,745 officers. That is a stark contrast to the year 2000 when there was 40,000 officers.
They don't know what's going to happen in the future, but this mayor could come in and he could step up right away, show us that you appreciate what New York City police officers do.
And apparently there's data out there with fewer officers. 911 response times have been impacted by the shortage, making wait times longer during emergencies. Hendry says there's currently no contract for officers within the PBA. The union and the city have yet to agree on terms, though he says he's hopeful, he's trying to be anyway, that Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, who's headed for City Hall come January 1, will do more to help these officers out. Mamdani was asked about this yesterday, saying, hey, there's not enough officers, and here was his response.
And that retention crisis is linked to the fact that we are asking officers to do far more than we used to. So our vision for creating a Department of Community Safety is also one that would be tasked with taking on the mental health crisis, homelessness crisis, and allowing officers to do police work.
The union head, Hendry, says he's willing and wants to talk with the mayor-elect about a new deal. And then coming up after 5:30, why did Mayor-elect Mamdani skip the parade? He'll also talk about the fact that he's ready to have a phone call with President Trump. We'll get into that after 5:30. WABC News Time 5:08. Let's go to Upper Manhattan, where a man has been charged with murder in connection to the deadly stabbing of a woman inside an Upper Manhattan apartment building Monday morning. Luis Marquez, 41, charged with murder now after allegedly murdering his ex-girlfriend. Her name is Carmen Lopez. And the people who live in this building, angry at themselves that they could have done more on Monday morning. They say this building on West 129th Street, this apartment building they all live in, they hear a lot of screaming. That's like kind of a normal thing, apparently, and they don't always respond to it. So when she was screaming, Carmen Lopez, for help early on Monday morning, they didn't activate fast enough. They didn't run to call the NYPD. They didn't step in. And meanwhile, this woman was stabbed 18 times. She did not survive, a mother of 4. Here's one of the neighbors who wished he had done more on Monday morning.
She was saying, like, oh, stop, get away from me. Thinking about it now, I do feel bad because I heard that scream and I probably possibly could have stopped it.
She was like, yelling, stop Luis, stop Luis, stop Luis.
So Marquez is now been charged with murder. He was given a mental health evaluation before he was arrested at the hospital yesterday. He lied in wait. He waited for her to come home from work, then attacked her.
I saw her on the floor, her, at 4:21, and, she was passed away. That's what killed me.
She was running and blood just dripping, then she stopped right in the middle, and that's where she probably collapsed.
Yeah, so Marquez has no criminal history, now waiting to appear for the first time before a judge to face a murder charge, as neighbors, friends, family now have to take care of these 4 kids who no longer have a mother. 5:10, the grandson of President John F. Kennedy says he's going to run for a congressional seat in New York City now.
Jack Schlossberg, the only son of Caroline Kennedy, will seek to replace the retiring Jerry Nadler in his Manhattan district. Schlossberg blasted out an email to supporters Tuesday. The 32-year-old is best known as an online influencer. He spoke at the 2024 Democratic National Convention. Schlossberg will not have Nadler's support. In a September interview, Nadler said his successor should have a record of public service and accomplishment, and that Schlossberg, quote, doesn't have one. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
WABC News Time 511. How's your bus ride doing? Some new awards being handed out.
The Pokey and Schleppy Awards are out. Transit Matters, a nonprofit strap hangers group, has given the Pokey Award to the M42 crosstown bus in Manhattan, which only averages about 5 miles per hour.
I mean, just my luck, right? I mean, they're trying to hop on a bus right now, and first time ever riding one, that's the slowest bus in the city.
The Schleppy, for the most unreliable bus, was awarded to the Q8 in Queens. There is a new award this year called the Mazel Award for the most improved service, which went to the M79 on the Upper West Side. I'm Lisa Ritchie, 477 WABC News.
When I was a street reporter, I used to cover this award ceremony, the Pokey Awards, and one year, just to show how slow the crosstown 34th Street bus was, they handed all reporters at the scene big wheels, and they asked us to get on the big wheels and see if we could beat the bus cross town on a big wheel, and we all did. That's how slow the bus was. 5:12, the Justice Department launching an investigation now into the bloody protest at a Turning Point USA event Monday at UC Berkeley. It featured a number of speakers, including comedian Rob Schneider, who referenced the activists that were outside at the time.
We are in an age of emotion. If you use that before your sense of reason and rationality, then you can be manipulated like the people outside this building right now.
At least 4 arrests made. Fights broke out. The Assistant Attorney General of the Civil Rights Division saying on social media yesterday that there were several issues of serious concern regarding campus and local security on Monday, and she warned that both the city and the school can expect correspondence from federal investigators.
They're coming not from a place of rationality. They're coming from a place of emotion.
That's Schneider again, the comedian. You'll remember him from Saturday Night Live. He was one of the featured speakers who said the protesters were being manipulated outside by Antifa. A woman is suing an Army gynecologist accused of secretly recording her medical exams at Fort Hood in Texas. In an exclusive interview with NBC, that military spouse, who goes by Jane Doe to protect her privacy, has a message for Army leaders now.
Shame on you for letting this happen. Shame on you for not taking action. Shame on you for letting this predator continue to practice. They said, we're going to show you a picture from a video that was taken. Can you please identify this person? Let me know how you know them. And it was a picture of myself.
The lawsuit accuses Dr. Blaine McGraw of sexually exploiting, manipulating, secretly recording scores of women under his care. Investigators say they found thousands of images and videos on McGraw's devices, possibly involving hundreds of patients. Correspondent Courtney Colby reports the suit filed by a military spouse alleges Dr. McGraw preyed upon dozens of patients.
The lawsuit alleges the Army gave cover to a predator in uniform by allowing him to keep seeing patients despite sexual misconduct claims dating back years, including unchaperoned exams, inappropriate comments, and unnecessary touching.
An Army official says the hospital here has sent notification letters to more than 1,000 of Dr. McGraw's patients. And while that doesn't necessarily mean they were victims, a military official says Army investigators have already interviewed at least 25 women who they suspect being recorded by Dr. McGraw.
And the doctor now has been suspended while the Army investigates. In a moment, we'll go down to Texas and we'll hear about a lawsuit. Remember those summer camp floods in Texas over the summer? Now there's some lawsuits against those summer camps. And we'll also hear about a high school senior who went missing on a cruise ship. We'll get to all those stories in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Ellick.
Thank you, Noam Layden. Start on the hardwood at the
the Garden. Jalen Brunson had 32 points and 10 assists. Karl Anthony Towns added 21 points and 13 rebounds. And the Knicks continued their sizzling offensive start under new coach Mike Brown by beating the Memphis Grizzlies 133-120 to improve to 7-0 at home. Mikal Bridges scored 22 for the Knicks, who have averaged 130.2 points during a 5-game winning streak, all at home. They are off to their best start at MSG since winning their first 10 in the 2012-13 season when they won their last Atlantic Division title. OG Anunoby had 16 points, and Jordan Clarkson came off the bench for 13. Knicks have scored at least 77 points and a half in 3 straight games. They rested starting center Mitchell Robinson on the first night of a back-to-back. Up next for the Knicks, they'll host the Orlando Magic tonight for a 7 p.m. tip-off in Brooklyn. The Nets lost 119-109 to the visiting Toronto Raptors. Nick Claxton and Michael Porter Jr. each had 21 points for Brooklyn, losers of 10 of its first 11 games to start the season. The Nets are winless in 6 games at home. Up next for them, they'll visit the aforementioned Magic in Orlando come Friday. 2 hockey games to look forward to tonight after a quiet night last night. Rangers back in action for a 7 p.m. puck drop out in Tampa against the Lightning. And as for the Devils, they'll be on the road out in Chicago against the Blackhawks. That puck will drop tonight at 9:30. And it is MLB Awards week. Milwaukee Brewers manager Pat Murphy and Cleveland Stephen Vogt both repeated as your respective NL and AL managers of the year. The only other NL manager to earn the honor in consecutive years was Cox for Atlanta in 2004 and 2005. And then the previous AL manager to win in consecutive seasons was Tampa Bay's Kevin Cash in 2020 and 2021. Cy Young Award winners will be announced tonight at 7 p.m. on MLB Network. For each league's Most Valuable Player Award is announced come Thursday night. That's your Sports Know Man. I'm Justin Ullich on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:18. An investigation underway into the death of a high school senior aboard a Carnival cruise ship, the Horizon. Correspondent Stephanie Goss reports the circumstances of Anna Kepner's death are just unclear.
The cruise ship making its way from the Caribbean to Florida. The medical examiner did not release a cause of death, but says the 18-year-old died at 11:17 a.m. on Friday, the day before the ship docked in Miami. The FBI is investigating, called in because that is the agency that has jurisdiction over possible crimes at sea. While the cruise line says its focus is on supporting the family of our guest and cooperating with the FBI.
Now, Kepner is one of these kids that's, not a partier. In fact, a straight-A student in school.
The school gathered Monday morning, according to the school's Facebook page. Teachers and administrators writing, the parking lot was full of so many that knew and loved her, adding, God is close to the brokenhearted.
And former Miami Police Chief Jorge Colina says it's interesting that the medical examiner aboard the ship gave the time of death as 11:17 a.m. on Friday.
They were very specific with the time. And that part's a little peculiar. Normally, they kind of put out a reference point, right, between this time and this time. What the FBI is going to want to do here is interview anybody that would have interacted with her, right? They're going to want to review surveillance footage to see where she was.
Yeah, meanwhile, the tributes to that student continue to pour in today. 5:20, 2 separate lawsuits filed against the owners of Camp Mystic in Texas by the families of some of the 27 campers and counselors who lost their lives there last summer in flooding. Correspondent Laura Jarrett reports they come 4 months after devastating floods swept through central Texas.
One lawsuit filed Monday by the parents of 5 campers and 2 counselors, alleging the storied Camp Mystic put profit over safety, adding its owners chose to house young girls in cabins sitting in flood-prone areas to avoid the cost of relocating the cabins.
Now, there was a separate suit that was filed on Monday by the family of 8-year-old Eloise Lulu Peck. An attorney for the camp says in a statement that the floodwaters far exceeded any previous flood by several magnitudes and that no adequate warning system existed in the area.
The lawsuit also outlining a disturbing timeline beginning at 1:14 a.m. on July 4th, when the National Weather Service issued a warning of life-threatening flash flooding. According to the suit, the camp's directors took no steps to protect lives, instead spending over an hour working to keep equipment dry and wrongly directing some counselors travelers and campers to stay in their cabins, as many others ran for their lives. A separate lawsuit filed Monday by the family of 8-year-old Lulu Peck, alleging cabins sat in the bullseye of known floodwaters, and yet the camp's owners continued to play Russian roulette with the lives of the little girls.
And they still haven't found all the bodies that were lost in that flooding over the course of the summer. That was those flooding right on July 4th. 521, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene pushing back on President Trump's notion that she has all of a sudden lost her way.
The president's criticism comes as Greene's public disapproval of the GOP on multiple issues, including Affordable Care Act subsidy extensions and the Epstein files, has grown more frequent. Greene defended herself, asserting that she has not lost her way, and she added that she is 100% America first and only. She also pushed her America First agenda with a post on X calling for nonstop meetings at the White House on domestic policy, not foreign policy, and foreign countries' leaders. I'm Jim Roop.
Yeah, some of that pushback may be related to an appearance she made on The View. A lot of people unhappy with her for doing so. A coalition of unions are rallying behind a Texas state professor who is fired now for remarks that he made during a conference. Tom Alter says he did nothing wrong when he voiced support for violent anarchists in Seattle in a plot to overthrow what he called a bloodthirsty government.
I was fired for supposed criminal activity.
Alter claimed that he was speaking as a private citizen, and he says his firing violated his free speech and that he should get his job back.
We are now engaged in the fight of our lives, the fight of this moment.
Texas State University saying that they did the right thing firing him. Tom Alter says he was speaking on his own time when he voiced support for these anarchists in Seattle. He said he did nothing wrong. Now he's going to file suit. A Republican state lawmaker is proposing a new plan now to split the state of California into two.
State Assemblyman James Gallagher of East Nicholas first introduced the resolution in August. He brought it up to the Shasta County Board of Supervisors on November 6th, 2 days after the Democrat-backed Proposition 50 passed. Gallagher's proposal calls for creating a new state comprised of 35 inland counties, including most of Northern California, the Sierra Nevada, the Central Valley, and the Inland Empire. Shasta County would be part of the new state. Many of the counties included in the proposed new state voted no on Proposition 50. I'm Daniel Martindale.
524, let's go overseas. Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu rejecting calls for an independent probe into the failures that led to the October 7th, 2023 attacks. Correspondent Blake Sifton is in Tel Aviv.
Senior Israeli military officers released a review on Monday, finding intelligence officials had failed to recognize Hamas preparations for the October 7th attacks and said there were shortcomings in previous investigations. The chief of staff of the military said an external commission of inquiry should be established.
And here's the problem from Netanyahu. There's a lot of public support for the commission of inquiry, but the prime minister says it can only happen after the war in Gaza ends.
There is widespread public support in Israel for an official commission of inquiry into government decision-making ahead of October 7th, but Prime Minister Netanyahu has rejected those calls, saying such an inquiry can only take place when the war ends.
And opposition leaders have accused Netanyahu now of trying to escape accountability. 525, Congressman Ro Khanna calling for a change in leadership within the Democratic Party.
The California congressman wants his party to shake up its leadership as attention turns to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and other Democrats who voted to end the government shutdown. Khanna shared his criticism while speaking on the Don Lemon Show and took aim at the, quote, people who are out of touch and who don't understand the political movement that we're in. However, Khanna did praise the good news that there's a new generation of leaders who won during last Tuesday's elections. I'm Chris Coraggio.
Former NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown has pled not guilty now to attempted murder.
The charge stems from a shooting at a celebrity boxing event last May in Miami. The plea was entered by Brown's attorney, who has also requested a jury trial. Brown, who played 12 seasons in the NFL, was extradited from Dubai last week after being arrested by U.S. Marshals. He could face up to 15 years in prison if convicted. I'm Mark Mayfield.
It was a great Veterans Day yesterday. It was a little chilly, but did you go to the parade? We were there, WABC. Did you see the WABC personalities along the parade route? Our trolley. There were celebrations of veterans all across the tri-state, all across the country, for that matter. New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer taking part in a Veterans Day ceremony in Fort Lee yesterday.
It could be easy to forget
but those who made the ultimate sacrifice and those who came back, we owe it to them to make sure as a country we figure out a way to put aside those divisions and to remember that we are Americans.
He's right about that. President Trump thanking the U.S. veterans. He spoke at a Veterans Day observance ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery.
Everything we have, everything our country has achieved has been purchased by the muscle, spine, and steel of the United States military.
Did you know Vice President J.D. Vance, did you know he was a Marine Corps veteran, served in Iraq? He also spoke at the ceremony.
Yet every captain of industry, every pioneer of science, and every star whose brilliance has lit up the lights of Broadway all share one thing in common. They only had the chance to soar because the veterans had the courage to serve.
And the president laying a wreath yesterday at the tomb of the unknown soldier. In a moment, we'll answer the question that kids are asking. Is it okay to use AI to do your homework? We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, 527, traffic, transit on the 7s. Here's Joel Noah.
Good thing that wasn't around when I was in school.
Oh, yeah. Well, Cliff Notes, we use those, right?
Oh, absolutely. I was terrible.
I never read the book. I read the Cliff Notes, but never.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Those are the best things in the world.
But you still had to read them. That was the only problem.
Yeah, that was the problem with it. You still had to read it, but it took about half the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 12th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds today. Could see a snow shower this morning. The high, though, a little warmer than yesterday, 50. Tonight and overnight, the clouds hang around, low 43. And then Thursday, sunshine, high 51. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 37 cloudy in Smithtown out on Long Island. It's 36 and cloudy in Hopewell over in New Jersey. And it's 38 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 539. Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani spent Veterans Day serving veterans in the Bronx meals. He did not attend the city's Veterans Day parade and would not say yesterday whether he would as mayor.
I wanted to ensure that on Veterans Day, I actually got the time to sit down with veterans and hear from them. And some of the stories that I heard from men who have served this country and given everything they could to protect this nation is that they have often been left behind and forgotten by this same nation, by this same city.
Now, every mayor over the last 50 years, whether it be Ed Koch, Rudy Giuliani, Michael Bloomberg, Bill de Blasio, Eric Adams, they've marched in the Veterans Day parade. And Mayor Adams says that the mayor-elect should have been there yesterday.
49% of New Yorkers stated they did not want him to be mayor. Some of them are walking on Fifth Avenue today. Symbolism is marching in this parade, marching in Colombia's Day Parade, marching in Israeli Day Parade, the Dominican, the Puerto Rican Day Parade. The city is more divided than it has probably ever been, and he has an obligation to heal the city.
Now, when Mamdani was on the campaign trail, he did attend the Dominican and Puerto Rican Day parades, the Bangladeshi and West Indian parades. He marched in his own parade across the Brooklyn Bridge. That was right before Election Day. But at the debate in October, he said parades were not exactly his priority. And then while we're talking about Mamdani, of course, he's assembling his administration ahead of January 1 when he is sworn in. And, of course, he's continually being told that his plan for free buses is not going to happen. Governor Hochul doubling down that there's just not money to make that happen.
That's impossible because the MTA...
And so New Yorkers weighing in on this, saying that they think that's probably true, that there's not enough money to make buses free, especially since they continue to hike the fares and, of course, congestion pricing. That's going to the MTA.
That's impossible because the MTA is a business.
I'm not surprised she would say that wasn't really possible, you know?
I think she's probably weighing the financial options.
Yeah.
I think she's doing a good job of thinking about it.
Yeah, I think the money probably is not there for free buses, but Mayor Mamdani doubling down, saying he will get it done when he becomes mayor. And he was asked yesterday by NBC whether he has heard from President Trump yet. Of course, the two were battling against each other on the campaign trail. President from the White House talking about how Mamdani was a communist. Mamdani talking about how he would fight for New York City. And he says, you know what, at some point I will pick up the phone when I'm mayor and have a conversation with President Trump.
I will be reaching out to the White House and as we prepare to actually take office, I will be proactive in the work that I do. And I think that is because of the responsibility I hold to 8.5 million people of being their mayor. It is important that you are open to working with anyone, no matter what disagreements you may have.
But he says if he does have disagreements with the president, he will let him know that he does.
Well, I'll say that I'm here to work for the benefit of everyone that calls the city home, and that wherever there is a possibility for working together towards that end, I'm ready. And if it's to the expense of those New Yorkers, I will fight it.
Now, you'll remember President Trump urged New Yorkers to vote for Andrew Cuomo, has made those statements about Mamdani being a communist. But Mamdani says, okay, I'm mayor. Now we have to work together. And the mayor-elect was also asked yesterday by NBC, did he ever hear from Mayor Eric Adams on election night? And Mamdani said he did not. He did not get a call from Andrew Cuomo either on election night. But he said the day after, Mayor Adams did pick up the phone and called him, and he said it was a nice phone call.
Yes, I did have a conversation with Mayor Adams, and I appreciated the conversation that we had.
Did he apologize for not calling sooner?
I think it was the day after the election, and we spoke about how we're looking forward to sitting down when he returns from being abroad.
All right. Don't know if that actually happened yet. Of course, the mayor-elect Mamdani, he'll be sworn in on January 1st. 543, Sean Diddy Combs could face consequences for prison flubs, including an unsanctioned three-way phone call. New York Daily News reporting that officials at Fort Dix want to cancel the Bad Boy founder's food and phone privileges for 3 months. This after they discovered Diddy in a multi-party phone call earlier this month. The rapper said he did not know that was not allowed. And last week, Diddy was reportedly caught with homemade booze behind bars. 56-year-old serving 4 years in prison after being convicted in New York last summer of transportation to engage in prostitution. Meantime, Diddy's in a drug rehab program, could shave a year off his sentence if he keeps honest. Of course, if you have booze behind bars, that's not one way to do it. 544, police asking for your help identifying a man who stole more than $12,000 in items from Brooklyn nights. This was over Facebook Marketplace. These scams have become really prevalent. And the people he scammed between the ages of 21 and 39. And it was the crimes took place in person. So this wasn't a thing where he asked for money and didn't show up. Apparently he would show up to collect the items, say that he was going to pay these individuals for those items, and he never did. So these were Pokemon cards. You know, these are the cards that, well, they're not even kids anymore because Pokemon's big with adults too, but they're worth a lot of money. And so he would show up, collect the Pokemon cards, show that he had made the Zelle payment, but he really had not made the Zelle payment, and these folks were ripped off.
I think it's a good way to sell stuff, but you have to be smart about it.
I don't think it should be done at all. I think we better just get out of the harm's way.
Yes, so the NYPD has these e-commerce exchange zones at police precincts specifically for things like Facebook Marketplace. So if you're going to do an exchange of goods, it's best you do it in one of these police precincts. Every single one has one, and then you're less likely to get ripped off.
If I'm going to do a sell on Facebook Market, I might as well meet with you legitimately, maybe like at a precinct. Yeah. I think that you better move within your own circle because there's enough people that you can exchange with within your own circle than to go out and err on caution and then wind up with a zero.
It feels like it's one big scam on Facebook Marketplace if you try to sell something. At least that's been my experience. I know it's not, but you got to be really careful if you're on Facebook Marketplace. Absolutely exchange of goods. If you can do it at a police precinct, I think that's a really smart idea. All right. In a moment, we'll tell you about this vicious dog attack in Brooklyn and how does the guy who owns the dog involved still have that canine. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Alec.
Thank you, Noah Maladen. Start on the hardwood at the Garden. Jalen Brunson had 32 and 10. Karl Anthony Towns added 21 points and 13 rebounds. And the Knicks continued their sizzling offensive start under new coach Mike Brown by meeting the Memphis Grizzlies 133-120 to improve to 7-0 at home. Mikal Bridges scored 22 for the Knicks, who have averaged 130.2 points during a 5-game winning streak, all at home. They are off to their best start at Madison Square Garden since winning their first 10 in the 2012-13 season. When they won their last Atlantic Division title, OG Anunoby had 16 points, and Jordan Clarkson came off the bench for 13. The Knicks have scored at least 77 points and a half in 3 straight games. They rested starting center Mitchell Robinson on the first night of a back-to-back. Up next for the Knicks, they'll host the Orlando Magic tonight for a 7 p.m. tip-off. In Brooklyn, the Nets lost 119-109 to the visiting Toronto Raptors. Nick Claxton and Michael Porter Jr. each had 21 points for Brooklyn, losers of 10 of its first 11 games to start the season. The Nets are winless in 6 games at home. Up next for them, they'll visit the aforementioned Magic in Orlando come Friday. 2 hockey games to look forward to on the ice tonight as well. 7 p.m. puck drop for the Rangers down in Tampa against the Lightning. And then the Devils are out in Chicago against the Blackhawks. That's a 9:30 p.m. start, I should say. And it is MLB Awards week. Milwaukee Brewers manager Pat Murphy and Cleveland Stephen Vogt both have repeated as your respective NL and AL managers of the year. The only other NL manager to earn the honor in consecutive years was Cox for Atlanta in 2004 and 2005. And then the previous AL manager to win in consecutive seasons was Tampa Bay's Kevin Cash in 2020 and 2021. Cy Young Award winners will be announced tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on MLB Network before each league's Most Valuable Player Award is announced come Thursday night. That is your Sports Noam, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:49. Let's go out to Brooklyn, where a couple there says their French bulldog recovering this morning from some serious injuries after being mauled by a neighbor's pit bull. Residents of this same Coney Island apartment building say it's not the first time these pit bulls have attacked someone else's pet. Diane and Derek Bradley say their 3-year-old French bulldog, whose name is Calypso, was attacked in the vestibule of this apartment building on West 29th Street. And it took a number of people to get this pit bull off their poor little dog.
2 pit bulls charged into the door and grabbed Calypso and had her head in one of them's mouth.
So she was screaming. That's the owner there. When Calypso went limp, the dog fainted, and then someone was able to get the dog out of the jaws of the pit bull, one of them being the pit bull's owner.
The spirit came over me. I grabbed his dog and pulled the biggest one outside. He was busy punching his dog like crazy.
Yeah, so he was punching the dog to get the dog to let go. Thankfully, the dog's going to be okay, but they have these crazy vet bills now. And now there's another couple that's in this building said that their dog, whose name is Milo, was attacked by these same 2 pit bulls not so long ago.
He was bit on the neck, the belly, the back, and one more place. Those same dogs attacked another dog of a friend that I know, and they killed her dog.
Now, the person who owns these pit bulls refused to talk to the media. Probably not a bad idea on his part, but why does this person still have their dog now that there's 3 different incidents in the same building of these pit bulls attacking dogs? So they're calling on the city to come in and take these guys' pit bulls away.
I don't think he should be a dog owner anymore at this point. He told me he would get muzzles for the dogs and everything. He still hasn't done a thing.
And by the way, these pit bulls walking around this building with no leashes on. 5:51, members of the Long Island Coalition for the Homeless were outside yesterday helping people deal with the cold temps. The group says it's seen a huge increase of people who need help due to the rising prices of food and housing on Long Island, combined, they say, with the lack of resources lately, of course, with the SNAP payments. So they're feeding a lot more people these days.
I think especially with benefits being cut, it's been making it a lot more challenging for people, and the lack of resources definitely has left a lot more people on the street.
Yeah, we watched as this group was giving out winter essentials at the bus terminal in Hempstead yesterday, including hand warmers, hats, gloves, scarves, and bags of food. Same holds true no matter where you go across the city or the tri-state. In fact, up in Portchester, a group that does similar type things said they've been handing out a lot of food lately too, and they're seeing more families that they've never seen before come into the pantry looking for help.
Before SNAP, we were up 20% year over year. So there's a real need, and it's based on the food costs.
Yeah, and they're saying, once these SNAP payments are back in place, they hope they won't see as many families, but they say they've been overwhelmed over the last 4 weeks. 5:52 these days, it's dark by the time you leave for work. There's a proposal in New Jersey to keep daylight saving time now.
Even if we're just dancing in the dark.
New Jersey lawmakers took the first step toward passing legislation that would end the twice-yearly ritual of setting clocks forward and back, clearing a bill out of the State Transportation Committee. But would that change ever actually be put into effect? NJ.com reports that while states can opt out of daylight saving time, as Arizona and Hawaii already do, it would take an act of Congress to allow states to make daylight saving time permanent. There are 19 other states that have similar daylight saving time laws or resolutions on the books. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
Yeah, I mean, it is so depressing when it's dark at 5 in the afternoon, and soon it'll be 4 and 4:30 when it's dark outside. The MTA going to roll out more of its automated camera enforcement program on 4 more bus routes. In fact, they already have. The BX9, the BX15, the B11, B63, that's in Brooklyn and in the Bronx. So for the first 60 days, drivers who block bus stops, double park, or use bus lanes the wrong way will get warning letters in the mail because these cameras automatically snap shots of cars that are in the bus lane. I mean, you shouldn't be in the bus lane because buses need to get by. So the first fines will be $50, and then repeat offenders will get tickets for $250. Now, you'll get it in the mail because the camera will take a picture. It'll send it over to the authorities. The authorities will then find you using your license plate and smack you with a ticket, which many people think you should deserve. I mean, get out of the bus lane.
It seems to run okay here. I can see why cameras might be helpful if there are issues with cars blocking.
I think the bigger problem is just that New York has a lot of traffic. I don't think you can really solve the traffic speed problem with this.
Yeah, so officials say the bus program is already making a huge difference. Bus speeds have gone up 5% on average, with some routes seeing gains as high as 30%. The MTA also reports 20% fewer collisions and a 40% drop in blocked bus stops and lower emissions along some of these routes. So expected that even more bus routes the coming months, coming year will get those cameras. 5:55, a dog on Long Island being credited with saving a family from their burning home over the weekend. The fire broke out early Sunday morning as several people were sleeping. The family's golden doodle named Chase spotted the danger, woke up the family. Now, they had smoke alarms, but apparently they did not hear those smoke alarms. But, dogs' ears can pick up anything. So the dog barked like crazy, warned these people to get out of their home.
My son had to jump out that window onto the roof and get down. I heard the dog woke them up, the people downstairs, the landlord and his wife, his fiance up. And then they woke up my son. I think he called him on the phone and woke him up.
Yeah, so they are crediting this little dog, Chase, who's all of 12 pounds and 2 years old, for saving their lives.
The residents were awoken by the dog barking. So the dog was barking, woke them up, they saw the fire.
I asked them, are they out? And then we seen that the one was in a walker. So me and him ran in, we grabbed him out, and then the Long Beach Police Department helped with the second victim that was inside of that house.
And they say they may not have been able to make those saves without the dog barking and alerting some of those neighbors. And Pope Leo revealing some of his all-time favorite movies now.
The leader of the Catholic Church gave an interview with Variety this week and said his all-time favorite film is the 1946 holiday classic It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. The 70-year-old Pope said his favorite musical is the 1965 Oscar winner The Sound of Music, starring Julie Andrews. Later this week, Pope Leo, the first pontiff to be born in the United States, will be meeting with Hollywood celebrities as part of his ongoing Holy Year celebrations. The celebrities will include actors Cate Blanchett, Adam Scott, and Chris Pine, plus director Spike Lee. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.